today's very special episode, we're going to be diving into The Matrix and why I believe many of the concepts in that movie pertain to manifestation, how it relates to our current universe and everything within the quantum field, etc. I'm going to talk through some of the scenes. Now, disclaimer, I by no means believe that this movie is how our world currently functions. It's just the premise of it being a simulation. I don't believe we're personally being in pods and all the other fun, exciting, creative stuff about the Matrix, but this specific portion that we are living in like a simulation or a video game, and a lot of the concepts that they cover in some of the movie really open up or shed light onto some other really fun stuff. This video is going to be a voiceover, so I hope you enjoy that. We'll be putting some of the scenes up on the screen so we can dive deep into what is going on in some of these concepts in the movie that really hit hard. And I loved this movie. When I saw it, my mind was blown, and it still continues to be blown, and I'm excited to be able to express it here on YouTube for the first time. One last thing I want to mention about my channel is that I want to be your white rabbit. You are essentially Neo, and this channel serves as the rabbit hole. And I hope you follow me, so please subscribe and hit that button down the rabbit hole of consciousness and all things discovering consciousness, opening up and expanding our consciousness, thinking about all different kinds of mechanisms and modalities to be able to just shift into the reality, shift into the state, be present in what we actually want, and be in the state to receive everything that we are desiring essentially in this matrix, because we came here to play a game. This is all essentially one big creative pool for us to all enjoy and live out our best lives. So without further ado, please enjoy.
When The Matrix first came out, it was a visual phenomena. No one had ever executed a live action scene quite like the Wachowskis. However, if you closely pay attention, you can tell that this cinematic box office hit had woven in things like hermetic principles from the Kabbalion. So let's dissect some of the scenes to learn not only how we can wake up out of this matrix or simulation, but also how we can learn to control it and manifest in it, as I do believe we came here to be conscious co-creators with the universe, with the matrix, with the simulation, to be able to fulfill whatever it is that we came down here to do. And I do truly believe it is to live a beautiful existence, to help ourselves and others along the way. So let's jump into this.
This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed, and you believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, and you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Breaking this down into our current reality, remember these are my own opinions, but taking the blue pill means that you are a sheep. You don't care about consciously creating. You will do whatever the crowd tells you. You will completely listen to what your parents say all the time. You will take all of the opinions of others. You will loop other programs in your subconscious. You will not take accountability, or you will not take what I believe is now the red pill to stay in Wonderland, to explore consciousness. Wonderland is consciousness. The rabbit hole is how deep it can go. It can keep going on because we are in an eternal state of learning, I do believe. But we are always figuring out and exploring and understanding exactly why we came back here, to understand the power that we all hold.
Sooner or later, you're going to realize, just as I did, that there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path.
Breaking this down, this is just really simple. I think this is a concept that most of us understand is we can sit here and absorb all of the information that we do on a day-to-day basis, but if we sit and do nothing with it, if we don't take action, if we don't quote unquote walk the path, then we're not going to make a difference. We're going to have the universe start rolling into action. So I definitely think that there's just that underlying tone that we need to come to this realization that we need to start putting our beliefs into action.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
I love that they brought this into the movie because we often hear teachers mention the different experiments here that scientists or just researchers throughout the years have done on different patients or different subjects or what have you, where they will have a group practice something in their mind, and the mind does not understand the difference between the imaginal act while they may be playing the piano or shooting a basketball or just whatever type of activity that you can sit and visualize over and over again. Playing chess, there's many activities, almost everything probably you could attempt to visualize and then do afterwards. In my mind, this lends itself also to feeling it real, trying to just connect those dots between your imaginal acts and what you see in the 3D, so to speak. So I think, I'm not sure if that specifically was trying to go there with that, but when I look back on this and I reinterpret this movie in the eyes that I currently have or the background that I currently have, I can interpret these lines so much differently now.
You have to let it all go. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
Again, this is the same type of information that we all talk about here, letting go of fear, doubt, and disbelief, freeing your mind. And I believe that it is the root of being able to shift into the reality that you want to, or quote unquote, manifest the reality, whatever you want to say, or manifest the things, or what have you, the states, whatever you want to call it. If you have something that you're desiring, if you have a goal that you're trying to achieve, if you have a lifestyle that you're trying to live, if you have a mindset that you're trying to change, if you are depressed all the time, if you talk to yourself negatively, if you're always annoyed with everybody around you, it just everything probably all leads back to some point of either fear, doubt, and disbelief in your mind about something going on. So it ends up taking up your mind. And of course, we want to make sure that we're always trying to free our mind of these things, because worrying does not lend itself to your best life. If what we think about creates our reality, worrying would only then therefore create worries in your life if you quite literally look at it like that. So we need to keep those concepts in mind.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole.
I personally feel like when we all jump into the pool of conscious creation, or again, whatever you want to call it, manifestation, shifting, getting into the state, whatever it is that you want to coin, getting, obtaining your desire, whatever that may be. It could be a better lifestyle. Again, like I mentioned, it could be better relationships. It could be a better mindset. It could be more money. It could be so many different things. It could be trying to achieve enlightenment. It could be trying to get a new career. There's literally an endless amount of possibilities of things that you could be desiring, because I do feel like that is your creative juices from the creator coming down into you to be able to create in this reality. That is why we are here. I do personally believe that God is able to kind of shift down into our consciousness, and I always like to believe that I'm showing God the best time that he could possibly be having. I try to lead my life like that, and I'm trying to lead my life more so like that, in the way that what could God possibly come down here on this 3D plane and have the best time doing. I'm trying to live by that mantra, and I really feel like when you tumble down the hole, you come across so many different concepts and principles and just different things that people are telling you to do, and gurus that swear they know how to do this manifesting technique. And you see all of these people with millions and millions and millions of dollars, and sometimes it's very difficult to believe. But for me in my journey, I do think it is a part to have fun with that Alice in Wonderland moment, so to speak. Be Alice. I want you to be Alice. I want me to be Alice as well, but also to serve as your rabbit, putting in front of you different concepts that I find fascinating, that I do believe will open up others for higher consciousness, or just food for thought to make you break free of this matrix, to be able to question reality and to be able to create the absolute most wonderful life that you possibly can.
You're here because you know something. What you know, you can't explain, but you can feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's brought you here. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. Is this the feeling that has brought you to me?
I'm not sure if this is the same for anybody else, but I have always felt like there was something else out there. I always felt different as a child. I never conformed to what my religious grandmother wanted me to believe in, and I always kind of battled with that back and forth with my family. They always loved me, albeit I did not always agree with everything that they vehemently believed from certain things within certain religions. And I had broken out of that, which I also do believe is a fragment of breaking out of this matrix or reality or simulation, is to be able to follow your own beliefs and not be brainwashed or be in some sort of cult or be under some sort of hypnotic impression from somebody, especially people that I don't agree with or that my opinions do not align with. I've always felt like there's a larger consciousness out there, that there's more to than meets the eye, especially when it came to quantum mechanics and quantum physics. It was something that deeply fascinated me and continues to fascinate me to this day. And I may not completely explain it or understand it exactly like a scientist would, but I think that there's something there that, in my opinion, my spidey senses or my intuition or my gut feeling tells me that there's truth here and that I must follow it. Like when we follow the white rabbit, following that source of truth. Disclaimer, always know that there's neutrality in life, like Vadim Zeland talks about the pendulum. Don't drop too far down the rabbit hole. We want to consume all of this information, but again, be able to digest it and let it flow into your life in a way that advances you and doesn't hold you back or give you unwanted thoughts. Only thoughts that you want should be in your mind. Only thoughts that are actively creating your reality should be living rent free in your mind. Only thoughts about how you want to live your very best life. These kinds of thoughts are the thoughts that should be in your mind, in my opinion.
The Matrix is everywhere. It's all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Right now, I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics, and this is obviously not the first place that I've heard this, but basically, we are all walking around in a state of hypnotic trance or under some sort of hypnotic form. So when he says, when you look out the window, when you turn on your television, you are being hypnotized. It's no secret that they use subliminals on certain things, and that subliminals work if you create your own and fall asleep to them. That is something that is beneficial for your subconscious mind. However, this couldn't be used against you. And I believe a part of this, again, waking up in the matrix, is getting out of that hypnotic trance of anybody. It could be anybody around you, it could be your social media. How about your social media feed? The algorithm. The algorithm is intended to hypnotize you, to entice you to continue to look at it over and over again, and then entice you to click on things to make you buy, which we understand it is a world. There's an economy, people have to make money, but there's also a side to it, again, like the pendulum, where we don't want to get too deeply entranced or hypnotized by other people's agendas or other people's reality creation.
You were a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, into a prison that you cannot taste, see, or touch, a prison for your mind.
This could be said about many things that we are committed to here in this community, those like to call the 3D, which is our reality that we're physically living in, this material reality that we can touch in front of us. That means items that we can procure, like getting a new car. In this reality, to achieve or obtain these things, we can be seen as slaves. We can be slaving over other people's possessions, or rather their companies, so they can achieve possessions. Being born into bondage, for me, is the program, a prison that you cannot see or taste or touch. You can't see, taste, or touch if your mind is something maybe like a computer that can be programmed. You can't see, taste, or touch that. It's just something that has been laid over your subconscious. Like, for example, learning how to walk, or learning how to talk, or just learning anything that we learn on a day-to-day basis through repetition, especially. Having our mind imprisoned into believing that we are not able to do certain things, that we are not able to be certain people, that we are not able to achieve certain goals, that maybe goals sound outrageous, that maybe dreams sound outrageous, that other people judge or frown or look down upon what other people may desire. For example, a lot of folks like to dream or desire or ask for some sort of wealth or monetary desires, if you will. But breaking free of all of that and understanding that you're a creator here and that you can create all of this for yourself. Of course, I do believe that there is a ultimate, big God creator over the simulation or matrix, and it was done very purposely so we could all come down and be creators. However, we have to become awake during this process, or I do believe we could potentially be playing this game or this 3D simulation over and over again until perhaps we learn a lesson. Just throwing out theories, not saying that my way is the highway or or that what I'm saying is absolute God body truth. I'm just proposing theories out there that other people have also spoken about. There's also other literature out here, I'm sure, in these YouTube streets that people discuss theories like this. It's just something to think about, just food for thought again for that expanded consciousness. You can come up with all of your own theories and all of your own ideas about what you think this reality is. And I engage you to do so, find out how amazing and what a phenomena it truly is. I'm not going to read every single quote that I have posted on the video. However, I just left some of them there so you can understand that during the entire movie, programs are discussed. And again, understanding that everything we're doing is running under some sort of program, and understanding that we have the capability of reprogramming ourselves to do whatever it is that we want to do, to create whatever it is that we want to create, just like you see others around you maybe doing, and perhaps you might feel like you're not achieving something like that. Everything out here is achievable. You just have to use the power of focus to be able to reprogram your subconscious mind. Another heavy concept throughout this movie is the idea of freeing your mind. And that is, again, another thing or just state of being that is heavily pushed in the manifestation community or in the religious community, just freeing your mind. And that means disrupting the worry patterns, disrupting the fear patterns, disrupting those programs that are on us, and understanding that some of them are there for a good reason. You know, we have to register risks if we look at it that way. We don't want to walk down the street and get hit by a car, of course, but we don't want to have it registering risk for every little thing that we do, because then it would prohibit us from being able to live life to the fullest. So, again, we need to understand that there is a neutrality to everything, and that everything is not to be feared, everything is not to be scared of, everything is not in a position to hold you back, or having other people laugh at you, or caring what other people think about you. Just all those things, again, that are basically matrix of the mind, basically wrapping your mind into a matrix in and of itself of fear and just depression, or whatever it is you want to call it.
When the Matrix was built, there was a man born inside who had the ability to change whatever he wanted, to remake the Matrix as he saw fit. It was he who freed the first of us, taught us the truth. As long as the Matrix exists, the human race will never be free. After he died, the Oracle prophesied his return, and that his coming would hail the destruction of the Matrix and the war, bring freedom to our people. That is why there are those of us who have spent our entire lives searching the Matrix looking for him. You are the one.
This section here really kind of feels like the whole Jesus coming down and showing everybody the truth, and that he would come back and free everybody. It's very much so like vibes of this. I think that what this means is there's prophets or there's others out here letting people know that you have it within you. We are all a piece of the divine. That's why there's so many people at this point talking about it, saying it. I know I'm not the only one. I follow tons of other people that are talking about this at this point, that you are the one. You are a piece of the divine. You are a piece of God. You are the Neo. You are the ultimate consciousness. You are the creator. You are the I am. Everything that people have been preaching is that you are the key. Everything lies within you. You have the master plans, you have the blueprint within you. If you go into consciousness, and there's multiple exercises on how to do this, but for me, I like to go into the darkness and ask infinite consciousness to help me with any kind of questions or insights that I need. And I often get revelations or things happen for me when I'm asking. It's just a really interesting thing that feels connected to the quantum space, if you will, the act of the observer effect, being able to influence the matrix or the reality through and proving it through quantum physics, being able to understand that as conscious creators have intentions, that we can perhaps manipulate future events to have the universe shift in our favor, or to potentially shift into alternate realities every time some sort of thought and decision is made. We automatically start to shift into a new reality where that thing is that we want, or that desired reality is exists. Could there be infinite numbers of realities within this simulation that just keep going over and over again and just continuously change, which is dictated by our inner thoughts and outer actions, etc.? I like here when Morpheus says, I'm trying to free your mind, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. With anything that we're shown here on any of these influencers that show us techniques, or any type of books or literature that you're reading, it is your mind that is going to essentially turn it into reality. You need to digest the information and then subsequently use it in your own way. We are always manifesting, so to speak. We're always shifting into realities where I believe that we're meant to flourish in, but it is up to us to continue to keep the inner dialogue looking on the brighter side of the existence, or of our existence, because I do believe we live in a vibratory world. I believe that this thing, whatever it is, the matrix, the simulation, the universe, God, whatever it is, works through frequencies and vibrations, and our thoughts, our thought forms generate those types of different energies and frequencies, which end up shifting us into a state of being or consciousness that aligns us with the reality that we're looking to achieve. And this is, again, depending on that reality that you're trying to achieve, could be very easy for you or could be very difficult. This section here really is about some individuals not being ready to hear this information, or not wanting to hear this information, or thinking that this information is erroneous, that it doesn't make sense. And that is completely fair for anybody to think this way, or just stay asleep in the quote unquote matrix, be happy, perhaps doing very mundane things that may not make them happy, walking around depressed, walking around living life for other people, walking around hypnotized into making other individuals rich, hypnotized into not really having even down to free will in certain instances, because they allow so much of what other people are doing dictate what they should be doing, or they latch on to people because they don't know how to independently think. There's a subset of people that aren't ready to understand, accept, acknowledge, digest, um, just want to take this information and do anything active with it. And, when we talk about the woman in the red dress, It's the simulation trying to distract you. It's the what's the next thing that while you're doing the things that you want to be focused on, what's distracting you? What's pulling your attention and focus away? So attention and focus, in my opinion, are two of the most expensive commodities in the matrix. These are what is going to guide how your reality is dictated to you. The matrix is feeding off of your inner dialogue on a day-to-day basis. However you, and again, that mirror concept, however you see yourself, however you speak to yourself, your self-concept, everything that you could possibly just do on a day-to-day basis is going to manipulate, if you will, the matrix to help you shift into the reality that you're looking for. So if you're constantly worrying, you're going to shift into more worrying states. If you're constantly thinking about abundance and how you have so much stuff, you're going to continue to shift into those abundant states. It's kind of self-explanatory, but obviously when you're in a bad situation and things aren't going your way, it's difficult to get out of loop thinking. It's difficult to get out of victim mentality. It is, or it can be difficult rather. It can be easy as well. It's whatever it is that you say that it is. You are the creator or co-creator of your reality. You essentially say what goes. That's why all of these different techniques work. It's your belief system. What do you believe is going to work for you? That's what's inherently going to work. Here they talk about also sentient programs, and in my mind, that is just thoughts or negative mindset or just mindset that you cannot achieve or you cannot do or have because you are under some sort of hypnotic program, and you can be reprogrammed. And that is what that fight is. It's ultimately fighting back the programs that you are not going to adhere to unless you want to, unless they're making you excited or happy or content or at peace or zen or enlightened, whatever it is, whatever life track you're trying to be on, whatever movie set you're trying to walk across as the movie star, you have the capability to run that program, and it's not somebody else running it for you. Cypher in this movie really represents to me the cynical side of what we all tend to be when we're tired. We want to sit down and just pretend something, or, like he says, I know this steak doesn't exist. But it doesn't make it any less delicious if he pretends. So, ignorance for him is bliss during this scene. And a lot of people also feel like this about exploring consciousness, becoming enlightened. Who wants to fall down this rabbit hole, especially if you fall into it and don't see a light or don't understand how to apply it, how to take this information and actually apply it in your everyday life and make it make sense. I think that Cypher represents the willingness to want to make everything easy. Depends on how you look at it, but everything isn't always necessarily going to be easy. Fighting in the matrix or fighting to get out of it or fighting the sentinels and all this jazz was not easy, but it was a task that needed to be done to be able to see the truth. Many of us here may be aware of the scene with the spoon, where there's a child that tells him to not try and bend the spoon, that it's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth that there is no spoon. That when he sees that there's only himself, the spoon will bend. And this is basically, again, just recognizing your own power, that you are everything, that you are the spoon, You don't have to do something outside of yourself to make the spoon bend. Everything is within you. Everything is you. Everything is vibrating down to its smallest molecular structure. So that means everything in the universe is vibrating. So essentially, we are all connected through quantum entanglement. And once you recognize that we are all one with one another, you can shift into the reality where you're bending the spoon, so to speak, because you are everything. You are capable of creating or shifting into a state where the spoon is bent. And in that same oracle scene that came from the spoon quote is the Latin for know thyself, when she asks Neo if he knows, or that he thinks that he's the one. And being the one, or also like the chosen one, it's up to you to decide that you're the one or that you're the chosen one, and to actually know yourself, to actually go deep within, to take a look within yourself, to sit with yourself and your thoughts and observe them in this time and space, to be able to know that you're here as a conscious creator, to take the time to be awareness. And like she says here, no one can tell you in love. You just know it. And that's how I feel also about shifting or manifesting. Nobody can tell you the exact science to how you're supposed to specifically do it, how your technique is supposed to work for you. Everybody has their own special way of doing what they do. And this may be far fetched, but the one section where they talk about having a choice, like in one hand, he would have his life, and in one hand, he would have Morpheus. And the way I interpret this is that oftentimes we get put into situations where, are we putting somebody else first, or are we putting ourselves first? And we have to always remember, if we want to help those around us, we must first help ourselves. We have to know who we are. We have to stand strong in who we are. We have to be able to be confident, and we have to be able to love ourselves before we go out and do all of these things for other people. Now, that might be like a stretch. Me trying to interpret different decisions that one could have to potentially make throughout their life that would be either leading them deeper into the matrix or leading them further away from it. I'm not going to linger too long on the deja vu concept, but within the matrix, the deja vus were considered glitches. And I've heard very interesting theories on what could be glitches in this simulation, in the universe that we live in. There's also the Mandela effect, which is a very fun concept as well. Some food for thought in so far as, do these mean something? Could they be different life tracks that we have shifted to? Could they be the simulation or the matrix changing or conforming to will or intention? I'm not going to talk too much about Agent Smith, although I did like some of his lines in this movie. Humankind couldn't accept the original Matrix because we like to suffer, and I couldn't agree more. Suffering is a loop, people become addicted to it. And I think that that's just one of the themes here that they're trying to convey. And then on top of that, he mentions equilibrium, that nature lives in equilibrium, but that humans don't. And I found this concept quite fascinating from the perspective of maybe like the pendulums from Vadim Zealand in reality transurfing, that if we were able to, as humankind, maintain more equilibrium, we would flourish more, not do the whole one end extreme to the other end extreme like we have a tendency to do. So I thought these two concepts were extremely fascinating from the agent point of view. Can't end this video without discussing simulacra and Simulation, Simulacra and Simulation, Simulacra and Simulation. This is a book written by Jean Baudrillard. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. However, it was the book that Neo opened, and it was open to the page about nihilism. And this book was really interesting to me because if I loop it back to some of the beginning statements I made in this video, basically all about everything being a copy of itself, and that those copies are no longer relevant anymore and the new copy flourishes. I have not read this book. I intend on reading it. I have ordered the copy, so please subscribe if you want me to break down that book as well, because it is a complicated read. I've only listened to it at this point, so, and not even listened to all of it because it's actually not available. I thought about reading it on here. My opinion goes along with the multiple universe theory, infinite universe theory. Everything is just a copy of itself, and there's other aspects of it that where we are constantly viewing everything through some sort of filter, that nothing is as it appears, that there's always some sort of simulation that we are under or that we are living in. It goes along with a lot of the other theories, in my opinion, even circling into quantum physics. At this point, I have not heard, read, or witnessed anybody making this comparison yet. I'm just thinking at this point in time where copies of copies of copies in my mind equate to infinite universes, where copies are made each time maybe a decision, thought, or action is done, and that's how we are able to shift to the reality that is the one that we're desiring, where whatever it is that we want is present in that reality, whether it be, again, some sort of career, money situation, relationship situation, whatever it may be. And that it's all just copies and never an original. Just copies, and that it's all just copies and never an original. For example, ads. I'm going to post the ad right here that I'm referencing. A barbecue ad from Kraft, I think from the 60s, and it gives you the feeling that it's actually being homemade, cooked at home, made right there, being bottled for you. But when we all sit and really think about it, it is probably cooked up in some huge vat by workers, and it is not the same exact feel. So we don't really know what the behind the scenes of it are. We just know what Kraft puts in front of us, and it makes it look extremely enticing. So again, another use of filters, even from the 60s. Nowadays, it's out there in the open, Instagram versus real life. That is an example. Simulacra, basically two different forms of something, a copy, and it's distorted. It becomes hyper reality, I believe he describes it as. Nothing is the original, nothing is as it seems. Everything ends up being some sort of filter or change or alteration from the original. I'm going to leave this video by saying that we all have a choice, and our choices are up to us. And we do live in a world of infinite possibilities where anything is a potential. You just have to make a decision, think a thought over and over again that will create your reality around you. Choose to wake up, follow the white rabbit, and go down the rabbit hole and explore your consciousness, knowing you have the power within you. Until the next time, guys, may you all continue to manifest magic and resonate on your highest frequency. Bye, guys.